Okay, we're live. I'm just getting other mentions here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Illinois Green Party series. I'm your host, David Rich. We have a recurring guest here, returning guest, Beau Forte. He is a Green Party candidate for New Jersey, District 5. What's up, Beau? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Thank you. Good to have you back on. We had a great conversation last time, and wanted to just get you back on for some updates on the campaign and talk about some issues if you'd like. So, what's going on with you?
Listen, it's pretty exciting. There are 5 people, I think, on the ballot for the race that I'm in for New Jersey's 5th district. And I am the only one who happens to even be just a tad left of center. I'm more than a tad, but it's everyone on the ballot right now is right of center, including the Democrat. So that works out in my favor.
Yes.
We've started getting donations. We really haven't tried yet. We were kind of holding off to having a big press release that we're going until after the event that we're having this weekend. I don't know if you're aware. We're having a big event where Jill's going to introduce us all pretty much to the nation, but certainly
I just heard about this today, yes.
So it's exciting.
Yeah.
But even, prior to really taking any chances, I've collected a donation from Florida, a couple of small donations from people that just happen to see that there's someone running. I mean, you got to remember this district, it's been Josh Gottheimer. He's the incumbent. He's a very right-wing Democrat. So he's really not only has he gotten zero resistance from his own party, he's also gotten very little resistance from the Republicans up here too, because they know where their bread is buttered. I mean, Josh is good for them. So it seems that every election, the GOP candidate that's running against him is someone that can't win, and the GOP seems to be completely fine with that. So, this is a tough nut to crack up here because it's a conservative Democrat who both parties like. But it's exciting. I mean, I still think we're going to make a lot of noise because, again, this is a district of 800,000 people, which is, I think, is a pretty normal size congressional district. Mm-hmm. But it's a district that Josh wins with about 53 to 55% of the vote every time he wins. Republican gets about 45 to 47%. On the other side, there's never really a viable third-party candidate. So this is the first time since 2016, which was when Josh was first elected, that he's going to have a viable challenge from the left. And I'm excited to see where this goes once we really get rolling.
That's great. Okay, so once you really get rolling, are there any debates in mind or anything like that? Or
not that I know of yet. I mean, we've registered with the League of Women Voters, whoever would hold the debate. I'm sure they're going to come up with parameters that are going to make it very difficult for me to take the stage. But at the same time, I think there's enough interest in a candidate like me that maybe they just will meet the parameters no matter what they are. If it's money by then, hopefully we have that. If it's a percentage in the poll, hopefully we have that. I think we have really a lot of potential to do a lot of damage in this election.
That's great. So you're okay. You're not aware of how they would measure your qualifications yet.
At this point, I am not. Okay. And I'm sure they're going to really coalesce together the two parties to ensure that not just me, but the Libertarian candidate don't hit that stage with them.
Are you in contact with any local Libertarian candidates? Do you know any of them?
I am. I've had one brief correspondence with the Libertarian candidate on the ballot. His name is Jim Tostone or Tosone. I'm sure I'm butchering it. I'm sorry. But he replied and he said he wanted to get together and meet, maybe have lunch, but he wanted to wait until we were both officially on the ballot, which we are now. I haven't reached back out since, but I'm sure I'll meet Jim and, I'm sure we'll have a lot in common because we're kind of coming.
I think you'd be surprised how much we have in common with most libertarians.
I agree.
Are a little crazy, but no, I was actually a libertarian before I joined the Green Party. And
you were saying last time I was.
Yeah, it was merely their lack of concern about the environment that really shifted me over.
That makes sense.
It's either the market's going to fix it or they don't care. Yeah, neither of those are acceptable, so I need to go to the Green Party. So
good for you. Way to see the light.
Thank you. Okay, very cool. And what about do you have a team of people helping you out, volunteers or anything like that? Or
at this point, it's a very small team. Funny story. So when we got rolling, there was another candidate, good guy. He was calling his party Ceasefire and Justice, I think. He was very pro-Palestinian. I met with him, and like I said, he was a good guy. He had his reasons for being on the ballot with me, which I thought was going to hurt us. But okay, listen, I can't begrudge anyone. I know how hard it is to do this, put yourself out there. So he did the work. If he wanted to stay on the ballot, that was cool with me. But it turns out he told me the other day that he thinks he's going to suspend campaign. So I'm hoping that there's some people from his team that are going to come over. I do have a political consulting firm that I'm working with. So, we're going to come at this from some angles. Like I said, if we're not in a very different position, let's say a month from now that we are right now, I would be not only just disappointed, I'd be disappointed myself, because I think there's a lot of interest to be had. I just need to figure out how to tap into it.
Yeah, for sure. Would you mind talking a little bit about that political consulting firm? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had a guest on that mentioned something like that. So that's what does that mean?
They do a lot of the legwork for me. They put together email blasts. They put together the website. They touch it up professionally. They take pictures. They know how to put together palm cards, things of that nature. So it was help that I needed. If I was going to do this for real and really, because how many times am I going to get to really have a congressional campaign? I want to do it right. So, this was the group that I saw that could really help me. I will also say that I'm a little disappointed, which I did not expect, was some of the local progressive Democrats. I thought they'd be more willing, more enthusiastic about this campaign going against Josh. And it's been pretty silent from them. So listen, I also understand if you are a Democrat and you're trying to change that party from the inside, you're going to be dedicated to that. And then to all of a sudden jump on the bandwagon of a Green Party person, that's got to be tough to do. But I did expect a little, and maybe it's still coming. Maybe I'm being impatient, but there were some people out there that are in lockstep with me on most of my issues, and I haven't heard from them yet, but hopefully that'll change.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know who to trust in the Democratic Party and who not to, but
especially in New Jersey, pal. It's bloody here. You saw what happened to Menendez today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about time. I was worried that he was going to get off again.
Oh, so that's all. Okay, so as far as I don't know much. I know the gold bars in Egypt and stuff like that, but that's all legit, you think, huh?
Oh, well, he was convicted of all 16 counts this time.
Okay.
The first time he wasn't acquitted. It was just a hung jury. So it's not like he really, So, but I thought something like that was going to happen again.
Gotcha. All right, Ben Taylor's here. He says Beau Forte is the man for New Jersey 5. Hello, Ben, Mr. Mushrooms.
What's up,
Sip
Ben?
Sauce, that's Ariel. Yes, he is. Okay. Pitchforks are coming. I don't know who that is, but the gatekeepers won't go quietly. That is true. Elvira Mihalko, hello. How is the campaign progressing? Are you all getting any local press?
At this point, no. But we really just started pushing for it, I'd say. I think we tried to make certain journalists aware of our campaigns. But now that we have this big event Saturday with Jill coming to introduce us, we have every slot in the state filled. We're called the Green 13. We have all congressional slots and the Senate slot filled, which is going to do, enormous. It's going to do great for Jill in general, because the whole ticket, you have someone to vote for right down the line, Green Party. I don't think any other state has ever done this before. So not only, have we earned it, it's pretty historic, but I think it's going to make the race interesting here in Jersey this year. And I think that's where it starts. We'll see, though.
Yeah, well, we will. You're right. You never can tell.
We'll see.
Those are all very good points. And I mean, not that I know everything about the Green Party's history in this country. I know it's not very long. It's not very old.
No,
30 years maybe or
something. Yeah,
like
90s, I think.
Yeah,
maybe late 80s.
Yeah, and there was a different different iteration of the Green Party that turned into what it is now. So that would started in the 70s. Blah blah blah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't think most states don't really have a lot of members who want to run for office. I mean, they'll participate in the party itself for whatever extra externalized peripheral stuff or important stuff for the party's organizations, for sure. But we're a political party, folks. We need people to run for office. That's how it goes.
And the most uncomfortable thing is we need money. I mean,
we need money.
It puts us in the game. We don't need a lot because our message is that good, but we need some. And, it requires people. And right now it's tough times. I mean, listen, it's uncomfortable to go out and ask people for money. I mean,
I don't like it.
It's not something I do well, but
I don't do well either. I do gardening. I have clients. And even when they owe me the money legitimately, I'm like, I don't want to ask them for the money.
I would be a terrible landlord. I really would, because they'd be like, I'm just hurting today. I'd be like, okay, give it to me when
you don't have it. That's
what am I
fine.
gonna do? Yeah. So not for me. But it's part of the game. It's the only way we get our message out there, even a little bit. Obviously, social media. We need to all be better on that, because it's basically free and it's a great way to get in front of a lot of faces. So I think that you're going to see more effort from our little group, the Green 13, in getting our message out there, getting unified and putting it out on social media, because that's very important. And like I said, it takes very small resources from the party to do it. It just takes time, and we have to do it ourselves. But I'm convinced that this is why guys like the one I'm running against want to ban TikTok, because it's too easy for us to put out a message. It makes it very difficult for people like Josh Gottheimer to dominate the message.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I think that has a lot to do, because I mean, if you remember, it was so ridiculous. He was saying that China could spy on us. Listen, China makes the phone. If they want to spy on us, they could just put something in the phone. They don't need you to download an app. But okay, let's say he's right, and we got to worry about it to China. But then he said that it should be owned by an American like Steve Mnuchin, because Steve Mnuchin is so much more trustworthy than China. So that would be, it's so absurd.
It is pretty silly. It's pretty silly reasoning and arguments coming from them about why they should ban it. And I mean, because they're going right from like there might be a problem to banning it, instead of like, what can we do to curb this problem? Like regulate it, put some like malware in there or something like the anti-spyware in each, with the app or something like that, or blah, 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 blah. No, ban it. It's like one of the most used things.
Or sell it to my American friend who donates a ton of money to my campaign.
Say that again.
Or sell it to my American friend who donates a ton of money to my campaign.
There you go.
Then we'll be okay with it, because then they can recontrol the message.
Right.
We're learning a lot about what's going on in Gaza simply because we have access to it on social media.
100%.
You don't see a lot of stuff on the liberal media stations like CNN and MSNBC, the supposed left-wing stations. They're not covering Gaza much. Every day it's a Trump fest. So,
right.
Thank God for social media in that way.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's also opened up like just private or a greater amount of like independent journalism too, like this show and that kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah,
you don't get snowed over the facts. You present them as well as you can, and like there's many ways to check the fact check what you're getting and that kind of thing, and the information you're getting, and that kind of thing. And you watch CNN say in the morning from like 6 to 6:30 a.m. Everything they're going to talk about for the rest of the day. So there's a limited amount of things they're discussing each day. It's almost always centered around Trump. We already know what's going on there, except for what happened the other day. That's new, but whatever. You're right. There's great advantage in the internet nowadays for a multitude of different reasons, even with its problems.
Yeah, and it does have its problems. But again,
for sure.
If China really wanted to spy on us, I just cannot fathom that they need you to download an app to do it.
Right. They're probably spying on us right now. I mean,
aren't
there like thousands of satellites in space or something?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, this is what we do. This is the world we live in. Everybody's spying on everybody. And somehow, all of a sudden, if you come to Jersey, everybody's got a privacy vinyl fence. It's like we went insane. So now the way we feel like we have privacy is we'll put ourselves in plastic boxes. It's really strange where society's going.
It is odd.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Like, we're okay with you spying on us through the phone, but don't look at us in our backyard.
Right. That's funny. Elvira Mihalko also asks, are you making any memes with your proposals? Okay, we're talking about social media. She thinks those work great.
I will say two things. I have some amazing ideas that I've been discussing with a guy named Ariel, who you guys probably know very well, and he's very good at that. He's a good content creator, even though I don't think that's technically his thing. He knows what he's doing. So the easy answer is no, we haven't done anything, but the long answer is we intend to. And if anyone watching can help and assist in doing social media, content creation, stuff like that for this campaign, please reach out, email me. We can use your help. Doesn't have to just be money. We could use time. We could use volunteering. There's ways to help. And we're chopping down a really big tree, and we're going to do it, but we need help.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Of course. Any like local radio stations, public radio or anything like that you guys can get on air with? Or?
Yeah, there is. We do have like Pacifica. There's a WBAI in the city who would probably love to hear this story. I don't know if we've reached out to them at this point. But again, it's like I said earlier, there are some outlets that I was hoping would have more interest than they turned out that they do. I was in contact with a couple of journalists about my personal story with Josh regarding his, trying to prosecute me or have me prosecuted. And there seemed to be some interest from some national, left-leaning publications, and all of them kind of fizzled out, so we'll see. I mean, it's an uphill battle. I'm learning as I go. It's the first time I've ever been running a campaign of any kind. So, I mean, I guess I should have known that people aren't going to come running to my door to talk to me. So, we got to earn it a little bit, and
Sure.
and we'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, for sure. The Green 13 is a huge deal. Like I said, it's historical, and it's just the unity of it, and that you have like a name, like a title slogan for it, if you will.
Yeah.
Really can like get in people's heads and put you on the map. I mean, that's what, the Green 13, it rhymes, it's easy to say. People like remember that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And we're all, listen, we're all very different. You've had a few of us on, not just me. And
several, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're very different, but we're all in lockstep with the fact that, we're trying to take down a duopoly. I mean, be great if we all won, but boy, if one of us even won and broke through, what a story it would be. It might be a bigger story than whoever wins the presidency.
It very well could be. No, because you're right. It would be pivotal. It would be historically
huge.
Pivotal.
So we have to support each other. We're all great candidates in our own way. We're all kind of rubes, if you will, in terms of politics, which I think plays in our favor. So we're not really playing by rules because we don't know the rules. But yeah, I think you're going to get some really cool stories out of Jersey in the coming months.
That's very cool. Well, definitely, please keep me posted. And any of you want to come back on and talk more about that, I should have a bunch of you on at the same time, kind of talk about it. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, well, good luck. That'd be like herding cats, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay, I'll put it out there, see what happens.
On a Zoom call to have 13 wannabe politicians. Oh.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know about all 13, but okay. So Ariel's here saying that was me, like we were referring to him earlier. Yes. Elvira is saying go 13. Christina Khalil. Okay.
Yes.
Megan Arthur with another version of spelling her name. Christina Khalil is. I don't think I've talked to her yet.
Oh, you should have her on. She's wonderful.
All right. That'd be great. I'll try to reach out to her. Ariel, did you hear that? Megan Arthur, she says she's here. So Megan Arthur, Joe Kopsick, and I are trying to start our county chapter up right now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ben Taylor, who again, Mr. Mushroom Man.
That's my man.
That's my
ecologist.
My ecologist, yes. Okay. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. It was fascinating. I loved it.
He's a good dude. I like Ben a lot. He's a young kid. He's enthusiastic. He's funny.
Yeah.
He has a good heart, and he's gonna make some waves, man. I like Ben. Ben's good people.
Yeah, for sure. He's saying that's what I think is so great about the Green 13. We all have our own ideas, and we can serve as an example of what American politics can be like. Yeah, you're really doing it. You're doing exactly all that. That's great. It's
really cool. I mean, I'm honestly one of the older guys in the Green 13. Not, there's few of the guys like Barry that are older than me, but I'm on the older half. So I mean, it's really invigorating to work with some of these kids. It's a lot of fun. I gotta say, no matter what happens from here, it's been a great experience. So, and
I try to say that to the candidates too, that I hope that they realize that you are enjoying your time, even if it's the challenging parts of it
totally
are memorable, and that you're going to grow from this experience. Because I think that's ultimately what's important. I mean, winning the elections, of course, is first and foremost, but I mean, just it's such a trek, an adventure, if you will, a new one.
Totally here to win, but also to enjoy the ride. I mean, listen. I said to someone, for the next year, I'm gonna go around my neighborhood. It's funny. I'm really the only person also on the ballot who's from this district. The Republican, I think, is originally from Texas, and the incumbent is from more central Jersey, a different area than this district. And I can't wait to get rolling and really have these people expose themselves and talk about them and talk to people the whole time and talk about politics. And, I'm going to get caught sometimes because, again, this is the Green Party. There's a reason we're pretty green. So, I mean, there'll be some opinions I have that someone's going to put me in my place. And, you're going to have to be able to learn from that and change your mind. I mean, if someone makes sense, you've got to say, well, you know what? I've been thinking about it this way, but maybe this is the way it is. And it's also fun to educate people because they got to remember, like when I talk to people and they're like, well, you got to do something about Jersey's taxes. It's terrible here. It's like, listen, I'm running for a federal position. I don't really handle your municipal taxes or your state taxes. I'm more on the federal side. But I mean, you have to have that conversation. It means a lot. It's like you don't talk to the guy running for mayor of your town about abortion. There's not much he or she's going to do about that. We all play our role. So this is a federal job that we're running for. And, even though Jersey taxes are insane, it's not much I can do about that unless we're talking about from a federal level.
Right. And that's a very important thing to understand is like the differences in like, local to county to state, regional to federal laws, regulations, rules, so on that kind of, what each position actually can and cannot do.
This country does a terrible job of teaching civics because I know a lot of
absolutely horrible.
Have no idea what Congress people do, no idea what senators do, with the difference between a senator and a state senator. It's a little, and these are smart people. They just, if you're not taught something, you don't know it.
Right. Exactly. You're not born with the knowledge.
Right.
So, if you haven't learned it along the way, you're not going to know it. Right. So Elvira is saying Ben Taylor. Okay. BL, many green hearts. Ariel saying, David, you should run next cycle. Now that he knows that I've done it before, watch out. Okay. So Ariel's good at like getting people to do things. He's very inspirational and very much a motivator.
He's good at what he does.
He does what he does, and he does it very, very well. So Ariel, thank you for all that you do, sir. Appreciate that. And me running for, I don't know, we'll see. If there's a local enough office, maybe I will. We'll see. Okay, cool.
All of us should run, especially people like you, man. I mean, listen, if your heart's in the right place, you'll figure out the politics as you go. The key is that you want to do the right thing for the people that live around you, for your kids, for their kids. And there's just too many people in office right now that are just full of self-serving interests. And, I kind of think they're sociopaths because they know what they're doing. They know how much they're hurting people and they just don't seem to care.
That's the very definition of a sociopath.
Yeah. So, I mean, right or left, make sure you vote for the person who really has your interests in mind and isn't just, taking a lot of money from entities that aren't you, but telling you he's doing it for you or she's doing it for you. You got to be wary of who we put in there too. Sometimes the big issues don't matter as much as the soul, if you will, the person. And I'm not a religious guy, but I do believe that. I mean, your heart has to be in the right place.
The quality of your character is extremely important. Are you a moral person or are you a sociopath? I mean, do you care about fixing problems and helping people, or do you care about power? Where's your character positioned? What are your dispositions towards? Of course, that's important.
I mean, at least lie to me too. When you're taking, I mean, the guy we're running against, the incumbent in this district, he gets 99.12% of his campaign donations from PACs outside the district.
That's so gross.
So that means that he's getting 0.88% of his donations from people in the district, small donors, yada, yada, yada. Who the hell do you think he's working for? Do you think he's working for the 0.88%? Or do you think he's working for the 99.12%?
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good point. I remember when Bernie Sanders was debating Hillary Clinton in a primary, however long ago, he's like, all this money you get from Wall Street. She's like, well, it's not like I'm just going to do whatever they want me to because they're giving me money. He's like, why the hell do you think they're giving you money?
Right.
Stop treating us like we're stupid.
And then she's telling us that she won't release the transcripts of the promises she made Goldman while she was doing speeches there. I mean, listen, everyone likes to blame Bernie. She ruined her campaign all by herself.
She's awful.
She's awful. She was an awful, and she was shoved down Democrats' throats, and they didn't want her. And they're doing it now with Kamala, and it's going to be an even worse result.
Yeah, I everything's just a mess. So disgusting.
That party can't get out of its own way. That party can't get out of its own way because it's a centrist party that would rather lose to Trump than win with a progressive. Period.
That's a very interesting point.
Period.
That's who Biden has made no mistakes about the fact that he's a centrist, a moderate Democrat.
We don't have a left party in this country, man. We do. It's the Green Party, but we don't have one that gets taken very seriously. We have one when they hold our matching funds, which in the grand scheme of things, $300,000 isn't a lot of money, but to us,
for a Green Party candidate, it's a huge amount of money.
Oh my God, that's so much money. And for them to hold that, come on, man, this is supposed to be the greatest democracy. I mean, I think we know the truth of the truth, but don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. That's
Well, I haven't heard that in a long time. I'm bringing that one back. Let's bring it back, everybody.
it's a wonderful comment because
It
it's
is
true.
a good one. So I like it. Tell me it's right. I love it. That's very New Jersey. Okay, so pitchforks are coming and saying only 3 here. I sent out invites. I'm not particularly certain what that means, but then Ariel says it streams on X and Facebook too. We heard the X one is not active right now. I don't know why. I don't know if we have to like reactivate it or something like that, but it's definitely on. This show is now on StreamYard. Excuse me, Facebook and YouTube. So you can check it out there.
Do you find yourself calling it X more or still Twitter? Because I almost never call it X. Is that wrong?
Somebody said to me a couple weeks ago something about X and that Elon Musk owning X. I'm like, he owns Twitter. And they're like, where have you been? I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot they changed the name.
But am I still tweeting or am I now Xing?
I don't know.
Huh?
Xing is more.
It doesn't sound
Ariel
good.
says it sounds naughty. X does sound naughty. Yes. X meant something. We added 2 more in the 80s and it meant something else. But
Did you see that this guy, Elon Musk, is going to dump $45 million a month into Trump's campaign? $45 million a month.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, come on. This is an election between like 17 people. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's nuts. We got, man.
And they're keeping $300,000 from Jill Stein. But
okay, so pitchforks are coming and saying, there's still tweets on X. They're still called tweets on X. Okay,
so they are tweets, but it's X.
I guess like if Google changed its name, we'd still say Google that.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's just too ingrained now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so let's talk about this. Do you think that the Green Party candidates unallowed to ask for corporate donations, to receive corporate donations, is a benefit or a hindrance? And I mean in the grand scheme, not saying like getting from Wall Street and stuff like that, but like nothing, because like the biggest obstacle oftentimes is money.
I'll tell you what, it's not a hindrance because it's not like the corporations would come running to throw us donations anyway. I mean, maybe.
I wonder if green corporations would.
Yeah, maybe like a Ben and Jerry's, or I could see it. You're right. It's tough because, how do you preach some of the things we preach and then take $1 million from a corporation, any corporation, but at the same time, do we want to we need a win. That's what we need. If the Green Party can get one win,
it breaks the dam open and there's a deluge of other things that happen afterwards.
And we need that winner. I mean, that winner is going to be like Jackie Robinson in the fact that we're going to need the right personality too, because they are going to get picked on and pushed and poked and prodded. We're going to need someone that really can represent the party well. Hopefully, listen, I know that we all want to be that person, but at the same time, do we really want to be? It's going to be hard. So hopefully when I win this year, 2 or 3 Greens win with me, so I don't have to take that responsibility all alone.
You have to take the reins.
It's going to be tough for any third-party candidate to get in there and then really make any kind of impact. I'm seeing it with the Democrats here in North Jersey. I am like kryptonite to them. They don't want to come near me, talk to me, or touch me, even if they agree with me. So, it's tough. It's tough, which drives me nuts too. But after what the Democrats just did to Jamal Bowman, after what the Democrats are about to do to Cori Bush, it's like these people just, the definition of insanity.
Doing the same thing over and over, thinking the next time is going to be different.
So, I mean, come on, man.
Right. No, I agree. Like that's a good analogy because our American political system is literally nuts. Because everybody thinks they're like, just keep voting
corrupt,
one of these 2 people.
It's not that it's crazy. It's corrupt, and it's grotesquely corrupt. It doesn't even try to hide it anymore.
It really doesn't. It's just... All right. Ariel said Jason Call. I know who that is, but I'm not sure what that's in reference to, Ariel. If you could clarify for me.
Everyone thinks that he's got the best shot to break in and get in Congress. He's running in Washington.
Okay, gotcha.
I think his last election he did get like 20%, so he's got a real shot.
No, I understand. That's very cool. Thank you, Ariel. Pitchforks are coming says, do you guys do you guys get vibes that a good part of the population will vote against parties more than for parties? Yeah, I mean, the lesser of 2 evils thing.
That's a great question. I think I'm in a unique position in New Jersey to where Democrats know that if they really they can vote for Biden on the top of the ticket. Not that I would recommend they do, because I want to see Jill Stein do well here, but they know that they can vote for Biden on the top of the ticket and then come Green Party on the way down. especially with the guy I'm running against. There's a lot of Democrats that really, really loathe him. So I think just based on the hate of the incumbent from a lot of the people on the left in this district, I could get as much as 10% of the vote just from name recognition of the party. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we're in a unique position where if you really need to vote for Joe Biden in New Jersey, he's probably in trouble. This state's supposed to be a slam dunk for the Democrats. And if it's in play, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the country for Democrats. That's
interesting. Okay, there you go. Pitchforks are coming says no evil question mark. Yeah, I mean it's just such a silly who you voting for? Why? This person, why? Because of the lesser of two evils. Why would you opt for evil in the first place in any degree? It's what's
right? Yeah, totally. I mean,
it's just a dumb argument.
I mean, it's it's Donald Trump. I mean, we had 4 years of him already. We survived it. I don't see big differences between Trump and Biden. I just don't.
Yeah, no, it's I agree. I mean, whatever the other one, lacks in evil, the other one has.
These centrist Democrats are really dangerous. They're
vague.
In a lot of ways, they're more dangerous than the GOP. In a lot of ways,
because you don't know where they stand because they can go either way at any time.
And they're very smart, and they're very, they're soulless. I mean, that's what I call them, sociopathic. They really are. These neoliberals are, they're dangerous people. That's my opinion. And I don't want to say that I twist that into violence, like they're dangerous. They're not dangerous like that. They're dangerous in terms of politics.
Ideologically.
You need to really examine, if you're voting Democrat, really examine why you're voting for these Democrats that are, against universal health care. They're in the pockets of the insurance lobbies. They're in AIPAC's pocket. They have no problem with Israeli genocide, Israeli apartheid. Democrats, they're going to have a big civil war soon. If it doesn't happen now, it's going to happen soon. It's not going to happen in the GOP. They've all fallen in line. They all went crazy together. But it's Democrats that are going to have a big crack, especially the longer this Israeli conflict goes on. It's going to just become more and more pronounced.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, that's okay. I wanted to say I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, but I'm not actually looking forward to that because it's dependent on children getting slaughtered to do anything.
It's not good.
No, it's not. You're right, Beau. Elvira saying you're right, Beau. We have a really corrupt system. Congress has a low approval rating. True. Pitchforks are coming is saying the youth are pissed. That's interesting. Do you have any measure of kind of the younger folks in your area, what they're thinking about you and otherwise?
Not as much as I'd like to, but overall, it does seem like people that are, let's say, 17 to 25 in the college years, even the grad school years, there's definitely a left-wing shift. And listen, that age group is always more left than everybody else. But now they seem to be, Bolsheviks. It used to be that they were always left wing. Now all of a sudden, these kids are,
militants.
Extremely left wing, and I don't know that that's a bad thing. I think this country has lacked a strong left wing for a century, and we're seeing the results of that. I mean, everything that people fought and died for during the labor movement is evaporating and rapidly.
Did you hear about the head of the Teamsters Union at the RNC? What's his name? Sean Spencer, is that his name?
Yeah, Sean O'Brien, I think. But I got to tell you something. If you read the transcript of the speech, I don't blame him. I mean, it's not like Democrats have been friends to labor for a long time, and they claim to be, and it's dishonest. So, maybe this pushes the Democrats a little more to the left too. Like, oh my God, we could lose the Teamsters. And let's not forget the Teamsters have always been a more right-wing union as far as unions go because of the Hopper thing.
Just because you're a union does not necessarily mean you're left in politics.
But I like his speech. I will say that. And listen, if that's what it's going to take to kick Democrats in the ass and get them more toward the working person side, then I'm all for it.
And he specifically said, we don't, we're not owned by any political party. He made it clear that he wasn't there merely to champion the Republican Party. I mean, he was there in part for that.
He was there to say his piece, which most Republicans could not have agreed with. So good for him.
Right. And, he asked to be invited to the DNC thing in August, and I guess as of now he hasn't heard back yet. So we'll see. I can't imagine that he won't be, but okay.
It would be bad play on the Democrats, but Democrats know how to get out in their own way. So who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a popular episode, my friend. So I'm trying to keep up here. Trump is stealing all the attention. That's true. Pitchforks coming saying this isn't being hyperbolic. They are all like the mafia. That's not hyperbolic. It's very mafia-esque. And I'm Italian, so I don't even
Me
take
too.
you got that good Italian. You got the Jersey Italian accent. I love it. The other back to the corner. The Democrats are way beyond saving. They are tripling down. Yeah, they are.
It's not that they're being, let me just be, as soon as they get rid of their corporate donors, which they may never do, but that's who money, follow the money. As long as AIPAC is donating equally to both parties, as long as Goldman Sachs is donating equally to both parties, you're not going to see fundamental differences between both parties. It's going to be happy-go-lucky things, like you could feel good about it. Like, okay, Democrats are better on LGBTQ issues. And good, they should be, but they didn't come around on these issues until like 15 years ago. It's not like Democrats were always the party of LGBTQ people. And listen, that's an important issue. Abortion, very important issue. It's a civil rights issue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're trading, and let's be fair, the Democrats were in power for a long time and lost Roe anyway. It happened on their watch. They didn't have the balls to figure out how to steal their Supreme Court seats back because they got stolen, and they just let it happen. So It wasn't like Democrats in power really did you any favors or saved Roe, because here we are. And over the last 24 years, this century, Democrats have been in power for more of those years. And here we are.
They had plenty of time to make it
a
national law of protection or whatever, and they did nothing because they don't.
And if you remember,
they wanted to keep it in a campaign issue because they know that for that period of time they would keep winning on that.
Totally. But I mean, also, if you remember in 09 or 10 or whenever the Affordable Care Act kicked in, the Democrats had both houses and the presidency. They had a public option on the table. They were ready to go with universal health care. And who stifled it? The Democrats. Yeah. Joe Lieberman, the guy the incumbent that I'm running against, Josh Gottheimer, worshipped. Joe Lieberman came and used to campaign for Josh down here in 16 and 18. So Democrats do it to themselves with these centrist right-wing members of the party that should not be Democrats. And here we are, because almost every Green Party person I know, with the exception of you now, is a former disgruntled Democrat. There's a reason for that. And, it comes down to the money. They gotta stop taking money from the same organizations that fund the GOP.
Well said. Absolutely. 100% agree. Okay, Dems, camera so disgusting. How much money will they be able to raise after this defeat? I'm assuming he means Dems. But hold on, I want to ask you about this, because this happened. This came so like the Illinois Green Party has this software called Basecamp. I don't know if anybody else knows about it. It's like it's a communication hub for different Green Party members of different areas, whether it be like county chapters or the coordinating committee, to get on and talk with one another, or sometimes scream at one another. We had one Green Party member, and I won't mention the name, but this is something I wanted to ask you about, because this is becoming a bigger and bigger deal, who said that even though she's a Green Party member, she was going to vote for Joe Biden because she's so terrified of Project 2025. And she got some pushback about that because, well, you're a Green Party member, you shouldn't be doing that. But I responded, I'm like, I understand your reasoning. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I'm not going to vote for Biden. He's still a genocidal maniac, blah, blah, blah. But Project 2025 is terrifying. And I think a lot of people are being like, we cannot let Trump win, because if for no other reason, because of that. What do you say to all that?
I say, listen, and this isn't going to be popular in the Green Party, but it's a Jersey view. Okay. You're that afraid. And again, Biden shouldn't need your vote in Jersey. If he does, he's in trouble well beyond this state. But if it makes you feel good, I'm supporting Jill Stein. I would hope that you are too. But if it makes you feel good to vote for Biden, go ahead. If you think that's really the vote against Trump, do it. But I implore you to give us a look down ballot, because that's still going to be where the power is. And if one of us slip in, it is going to be immensely good for any working person in this state. So if I will take the trade right now, I will trade with any constituent in this district. If I got to get your vote by selling your vote to Biden too, deal. I think any Green Party member would take that. It's probably not popular, but we need a win. We need a win somewhere. And we need more than wins. We need to show up. We need 10, 15, 20% of the vote. In a competitive three-way race, you should only need about 33% of the vote to be in play. So, it's achievable, man. We got to get out there and do it.
Very cool. No, well said. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to argue against anybody who I believe is genuinely voting their conscience.
It's tough.
It is tough. Like I shouldn't, because I know a lot of people, enough people who like, no, you vote strategically, you vote party. I'm like, no, you should always vote your conscience. Now that whether or not your conscience is well informed is another issue, that kind of thing,
And that's the age-old debate, isn't it? So I mean, that's not something we're even going to solve from now to election day, which is 6 months away. So
right, no, that's yeah. I mean, when your argument, your stance has a moral underpinning that you agree with, that's probably a better thing for you. Okay, very cool. Elvira is saying Genocide Joe is going to lose. Also, I wanted to say Christina Khalil at least was watching before. Christina, if you're on here, please, I would like to have you on the show. What's that?
She's a great Senate candidate. She's our Senate candidate for the Green 13. I told you that before. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have one Senate candidate, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What's open is Bob Menendez's seat. The guy who just got convicted today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be great to have her on the show. Okay, I just lost my train of thought. And to those without empathy or depth of thought, I'm guessing are people voters. I'm guessing is what he's talking about. Okay. We got about 15, 16 minutes here left. Okay, what else is going on? Any pushback from anybody? Are you getting any negative comments, press? Anybody threatening you or your family?
No, okay. I haven't gotten any threats, anything like that. I'm surprised I haven't heard from, it's funny. I don't know if I'm surprised or not, but, I know that past Green Party candidates, the Democrat in this district would go and try to make them a deal to get them out of the way. I was thinking that it'd be funny if that happened because we have a real history, me and this guy. There's real dislike there. So, I'm kind of assuming that he's not going to waste his time and even offer that. But Josh, if you're talking millions, I'll always listen to millions. Millions is something I'll listen to. But regardless of that, the odds that I would get out of this race, I'm the only person on this ballot this year in the 5th district in New Jersey who's offering universal health care. I'm the only one who's offering real transparency. Josh Gottheimer hasn't had a real town hall meeting. Now, he will tell you he's had 90. And what he does is he has these telephone town halls, which he has them. They're on Facebook only, or you have to call in. They happen at 3:00 in the afternoon when most people are working. And then the questions that he gets from the public are screened, and they'll decide who gets to ask questions. So every question he gets, even though he wins the district 53, 55%, somehow everyone that calls into his town halls loves him and praises him. So, I mean, it's such nonsense, BS. I would bring back transparency. I promise you, if you're far right, I will listen to you no different than if you're far left or in the center or mildly left or mildly right. The whole point of this is representation. And the best leaders listen to the people they agree with least. It's very important to feel represented. I think a big part of the problem today in politics is most people don't feel represented. They understand that big money interests have basically blocked them out. And if they do happen to agree with their candidate a lot, it's just by luck of the draw. It's not because their candidate cares anything what they think. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm dealing with a guy who has $17 million in his war chest. I'm dealing with a guy who wants to run for governor next year. And I'm dealing with a guy who collects over 99, according to Open Secrets, over 99% of his campaign contributions are from large PACs that are outside the district. This is exactly what's wrong with our democracy right now is a guy like Josh Gottheimer. So that's why I'm also running on the premise of expansion of Congress. I believe that would solve so many problems for us as a country right now. It would restore trust because you would shrink the districts. I mean, in 1920, I think I told you this last time I was on, we had 435 members of Congress, and the population of the country was like 106 million. Today, the population is approaching 350 million, and we still only have those same 435 members of Congress. This enables two parties to gerrymander districts because it's much easier to draw stupid lines. It makes it much easier for big money to rule the day because you really don't have to worry about what your constituents think. I mean, you're representing 800,000 people. It's very easy to get lost in the shuffle. And when this is supposedly your federal representative, you need to hear everyone in your district. You need to have the ability to hear everyone in your district. And you just cannot do that with 800,000 constituents. That needs to be broken down to at least 200,000 at most. That's my opinion.
No, that I loved that you brought that up. I'd never even thought about that before, like expanding Congress. And when you gave me the numbers, the 120 million in 1912 or 20, whatever we said, and 435 compared to now, 430, I'm like, oh yeah, that's not right.
No, but it works for a very small percentage of the population in this country. So why would they want to change it?
Exactly. There's a lot of this, if not all of it, is just to protect the duopoly.
I mean, and listen,
these guys are all in cahoots. These people, George Carlin brought this up before. Like this, you don't need like a formal conspiracy theory, like in order to like actually have a conspiracy going on. It's like these people go to the same schools and the same colleges. They're in the same country clubs. They eat at the same places. They all know each other, and they're all talking to each other. You don't think they have each other's backs, even across the aisle. But you hear about like people screaming at each other on the Congress floor, and then they go out and they have lunch together. Oh, and so in a sense, it's all an act.
In a lot of ways it is. I think there's more vitriol now. There's real actual hostility now than there was 20, 30 years ago. And in some ways that's good for democracy. But in this case, it's not, because a lot of it is just purchased opinions going at one another.
Purchased opinions. Oh, I like that.
Big deal.
A phrase you should coin. Purchased opinions.
Purchased opinions. That's what they are. So I mean, listen, if building to Congress and making it 1,300 members means we get more Marjorie Taylor Greenes and more Lauren Boeberts, so be it. It's supposed to look more like the country anyway. But I promise you, it's also going to give you more AOCs, more Rashida Tlaibs, more. And it's going to give you more of those real people than it is these crazy right-wing fanatics. But listen, there's a lot of right-wing fanatics in the middle of the country. If you've never been there, please don't go. I've done it more than I want to. It's scary. It's like the third world.
They can be really scary.
But there's still good people out there too. People that just want exactly what you want, better for their kids, healthcare they can afford, so on and so forth. So I mean, it's not like we're any different in that case. Humans are humans. But yeah, I will say too, though, the Deep South, my mother lives in Arkansas. It's a different world down there.
Oh, no, I spent some time in a tent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I did a Renaissance fair down there, and oh, baby.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I can understand how people could.
Beautiful landscape, which is too bad. Tennessee was gorgeous. Kentucky, Arkansas, it's all like lush and green.
Very nice, giving people. If you meet the right people, they're wonderful.
And you want the right things, right? But if you don't, look out. Okay, so we got let's see, Representative Elvira, Representative Josh Gottheimer. How do you pronounce it? Gottheimer has now received $1.69 million from AIPAC and their allies.
And that's just a small portion of his money. He's also on the how do I put it the nice way? He's also funded by the health insurance lobby. He's a big part of this No Labels, which is a right-wing think tank group. His brother-in-law runs Tusk Strategies, which is the company, the political consulting firm that ruined Andrew Yang's career. Andrew Yang deserved it when he ran for mayor and used them as his political strategy team. They're awful. Very, very centrist, very corporate, very pro-Israel group. And, this is where Josh is from. And it doesn't represent the district that he's supposedly representing. He just doesn't. He's not from here. He should go back to Livingston and go back to the corporate world. All he does is try to save wealthy people money. He's not good for working people. And, we got 10 minutes here. I'm not going to get into it, but look him up.
Okay, I will, for sure. I think I looked him up last time, yeah.
He's a bad guy.
Okay. Joe Kopsick is saying, if we increase the number of congressmen, can we decrease their salaries so that paying them won't be unaffordable?
Yeah, I think there's ways that, listen, I think the average congressman gets like $1 million stipend to pay a staff. So a lot of times their chief of staff and all this make more money than they do. And a congressman's salary is $175,000 a year. That's a good salary. It doesn't make you rich, because with all the bribes and under the table money that you're going to collect, if the 175 is small potatoes, but 175 is a good living. I think that if we shrink the districts by a quarter, by, down 75%, so from 800,000 to 200,000, like they were in 1920, you could get by with a staff of 3 or 4. So you could cut your staff stipend in half. You can get by on a salary of 125 instead of 175 because you're dealing with less people and you're still making a good living. 125, even in North Jersey, which is one of the most you're not going to be wealthy, but you're not supposed to be wealthy working in the government. This is a service job. And I think a lot of the politicians forget that. So, I think there's ways that we can make it not increase cost. But even if we did increase cost a little bit, isn't it worth it for much better government?
Yes, of course, 100%.
So
100%. But money always plays an issue in politics. So that was a good question, Joe, for sure.
Yeah. I love that they ask how are we going to pay for it, but only on certain things. When it comes to war or giving Israel money, we never ask how we're going to pay for it. We just find it. You got to bail out Goldman Sachs from their greedy position.
We got that.
We can do it. We don't have to ask about it. But if we need a new social service, how are we going to pay for that?
Yeah, bailing out.
It's such a scam.
It's a huge scam. Bailing out banks. What do you mean you have to bail out a bank?
But that's why
you're a government. Just give them money. That's what you do.
I tell people all the time. Josh Gottheimer, he was Bill Clinton's speechwriter. He's like boy genius. Right out of college, he started writing speeches for the president. He's the chosen one in this district. They made him like he's the next Clinton. And I would like to ask people, I don't have those educational credentials. I didn't go to Harvard Law. But we've had guys that did. Before him, it was Scott Garrett. Most of the time, we elect these people that have assortments of degrees and all that. How's that working out for you? I mean, for the average working person, let's give something else a try here. That's part of what this campaign's about too. Is that we've been electing Ivy League grads from Yale and Harvard and lawyers and shysters and everything else, businessmen. Working people have done nothing but lose for decade after decade after decade now. Let's try something different. I'm sorry if I jumped off on that.
No. Please do. I agree 100%. And I went to college and I loved college. But I agree. Like it's, I think that first of all, there's a lot of people within the blue collar class, if you will, or the working class that are suspicious of higher education. Yes. And I'm not sure that's a good idea, but
no, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I understand that like with these higher ups, you could just kind of become like not just intellectually, sound, but like you become an elitist economically because you get the opportunities to do things that working class people don't have the opportunities to do because they don't have the college degrees, and you don't need to have a college degree to be successful.
No, but college.
We need, I think, a focus on blue collar jobs, to refocus on blue, because that got like just smeared in the 80s. When all the money came in and all the white collar positions were, I remember, growing up, all the parents and my parents were telling me, you should go to college, make sure you get a degree so you can have a nice, job in an office and you don't have to get dirty and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's like the worst thing. I'm like, without blue collar employees, there is no such thing as a white collar office. Totally. Because who's going to build it? That absolutely. Kind of thing. Like, it's just this whole like lash out against blue collar work is just,
and those are skills that never go away, man. You know how to build a house. You know how to do things. How to.
Blue collar workers are more important to our society than white collar.
In most cases.
In most cases, not all, but somebody's got to like take the phone calls and like make.
It's not like you don't need any lawyers, but you certainly don't need most lawyers.
Right. Megan Arthur says true. I don't know what that was too, but okay, thank you. And Elvira is asking what are some of your top proposals for the poor folks, for poor people?
So universal health care is the biggest. Huge. That's going to be a huge benefit to working people. It's going to be a huge benefit to capitalists in general. So, listen, it is a socialist program because we're all going to pool our money together and we're all going to pay for health care. Okay, it's not free. I hate when they say that. We pay for it on our taxes. But all of a sudden, if you're a poor person, those copays, that nonsense that they hit you with, like when you say, "Oh, you're covered," and then all of a sudden 2 months later you get a bill for $200 because it was in the fine print that you're covered for the procedure, but not for the test results. I've had that happen. So this is going to be a godsend, and the way it's going to help, the way you make this resonate with true conservative capitalists is you tell them the first year that we implement universal health care in this country, you are going to see an entrepreneurial boom like you have never seen before, because all of a sudden that guy who wanted to start his own business doesn't have to be afraid of his family losing health care to go give it a shot. you are going to see small businesses explode, which is why they probably don't want it too. Don't kid yourself. Big corporations don't like small businesses. So, we need universal health care first and foremost.
Like anybody who speaks out against like any amount or type of like welfare or sort of like, communal efforts, if you will, of like universal health care, like miss the economic truth that like it would allow people to not be afraid to go and do things other than scrape and save to pay off doctor bills or what have you. That's a good thing. We like that. We want our society to do that. The scraping and saving and trying to just get by because you're burdened by bills is not good for not even.
No, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't make us a better society anyway. It helps a few people get extremely wealthy. Right. That's all it does. That's all it does. I was just talking to a college professor a couple months ago who told me, now he does well. I'm sure a college professor who's been there many years, he's probably making 150, 200 grand a year. But he told me just out-of-pocket healthcare costs, just for his coverage, and that's it. Before anyone gets sick, he's paying 29 grand out of pocket a year. 20. And then if someone gets really sick, he's going to pay maybe double that, maybe triple that, maybe all of his salary. What kind of system is that, man? It's Russian roulette. So, I mean, people don't understand. His taxes may go up 10, 20 grand a year, but then we're going to remove his 29 grand expenses in healthcare. He's going to have no more copays. He's going to have no more deductibles. I mean, it's universal healthcare only doesn't make sense to a small handful of people, and they dominate the conversation, unfortunately.
That's what I've heard. Like statistically, most people, including people on the Republican side, want some sort of universal health care.
It makes everybody.
You just have a few people who keep it away.
Except for a handful. Doesn't make Pfizer more money. That's it. Really?
The prescription
doesn't make the MBA, the middleman, the executive at the hospital. It doesn't help him, but that's it. It doesn't help a few select, very wealthy people, which is why we are where we are. The only industrialized country to not have a universal healthcare plan.
Yeah, and we don't even rank very high in like the healthcare system quality. Like
last I saw, 37th,
something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like no, the one that as I paid attention to over the years, the one that ranks number one the most is Canada. The other 9 up for the top 10 are still all socialist healthcare system in one way or another. And I also want to reiterate, folks, I've said this before on the show. There's more than one type of socialist system. Yes. Socialist means that you just sort of all put in and take out what you need in the most general sense. It does not necessarily mean some sort of draconian government control of every little thing everywhere. Some do, but a lot of the socialist schools during the 1800s and the labor movement stuff, a lot of them were anarchists. They didn't like any kind of government.
There is nothing more humane than ensuring that no matter what happens to you in terms of your health, it will not cost you all your life savings. That's all I want to see.
Very good. Beautifully said. Okay, Elvira, we got a couple minutes left here. Let's try one more question. Okay, this is a good one, Elvira. New Jersey keeps heating up fast. What about climate? Everybody's heating up fast. It's nuts.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
What about climate?
Oh, listen, New Jersey is a terrible state for it. Yeah. One of the things, because we're so overpopulated. I mean, listen, we're the 11th most populated state, and we're the 47th in terms of size. I mean, we are by far the most densely populated state in the country.
I thought you were the first most densely populated.
By far. It's not even close. We're so far in front of second place. But first thing I'd want to do is get federal funds here. We have a lot of Superfund sites that we're kind of just kicking the ball down the road instead of really dealing with it. I would fight to get as many grants, as much money as I could to clean up the Superfund sites that are in my district, and then maybe fight for the rest of the state, because that's where and then obviously we need more regulations. We need more, not regulations. I'm sorry. Republicans are going to cut that up. But we do need more sustainable energy solutions. More solar, more wind. We need to figure this out. We need to put money in our state to research this stuff and beyond, so we can at least, if we need to be self-sufficient as a state. And again, I'm running for a federal position, so there's not much I can do on the state level, but I would like to see New Jersey, because we are such an advanced state in so many ways. We should be able to solve the climate crisis in terms of our renewable energy, because there are just too many cars in New Jersey based on our population in a very small area. Yeah. we need to do better mass transit. We need to do better renewable energy, and we need to finally clean up our Superfund sites because there's too many for this little state, and we're right on the water. So it's the worst kind of state to really have such dumping.
That's not the first time I've heard that about New Jersey. Yeah, it's too bad. No, Jersey is a great state, the Garden State. Don't ever underestimate the staggering power of the Garden State.
It's cleaner than people give it credit for. That's
right,
for sure.
And it also invented baseball, Elysian Fields in Hoboken, baby.
So they say.
Gave us Frank Sinatra.
And the boss.
And the boss. That's right, exactly. So Bruce Springsteen. So we want to keep it around. Okay, well, we're out of time. That was great. Good talking to you, Beau. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me again, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, not a problem at all. Sorry about the little misunderstanding on Saturday, but we reconciled and we made it happen. So that's good.
Simple stuff.
All right, good stuff. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Illinois Green Party series. I'm your host, David Rich. Till next time, be good, be green. Beau, hold on a second. There's a little